Alright guys, what's going on? As you can see, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is going on instead of A Link to the Past. It'll be happening, I guess, after this. It's all good though. A little Zam time. Joining me is going to be St. Connor. What's up, St.?
Hey, how's it going? I mean, Zombies Ate My Neighbors is clearly the better game anyways, so it's all good.
Alright, does Chad have any choice or, do you guys have any preference, I suppose, on which character I play?
Do they want Julie or Zeke? I mean, Zeke's pretty dope with that high top and everything. I'm not really seeing anything from the chat right now.
Well, I'm going with Julie then.
Julie it is. Everyone says girl, so we're going with the girl.
Alright, so this is any percent. The way that this is gonna work is each neighbor kind of corresponds to a number. There's 10 neighbors on each level, right? And say you kill neighbor 1, that means in the next level, that neighbor 1 will also not show up, right? There's also a neighbor that is it's called always neighbor. There's always that neighbor that's always going to be there on that level. So what we do in the any percent to go fast is we kill off all of the neighbors except for one. Alright, I need a zombie because this up here proves that dogs have souls.
All dogs go to heaven. Just killed Charlie, man.
Yeah, so what happened there is I kill... Oh, I didn't try my... Well, we're starting it now, I guess.
Don't worry about it, it's fine.
Yeah, it's whatever. I'll get into why that doesn't matter in a little bit. But... So yeah, I saved 2 neighbors, right? So now I'm gonna get that last neighbor killed right there. And I'm gonna grab this guy. So now throughout this whole run, I only have 1 neighbor to save. In every level.
So yeah, that's also something that kind of makes the run kind of risky as well, is because you only have 1 neighbor to save, you have to be pretty on point with your movement and everything throughout the game, because if that neighbor gets attacked and killed, it's pretty much game over from there.
I think the game audio is kind of loud relative to the microphone.
Alright, I'll turn it down.
Okay.
So yeah, something he'll be doing throughout the run is he'll actually be kind of manipulating enemies to an extent. The spawns and stuff are RNG, and so is their movement for the most part. But he can kind of manipulate them by keeping them off screen and keep them from either spawning in some cases, or he can even despawn them or keep them in a set position by keeping them off screen. So you'll kind of see him do what seems like weird movement, like not optimal, but it's actually to set up enemies in a certain way so he can progress to the level safely.
Yeah, there's also a certain number of enemies that can be on screen at once. So, if you walk far enough off screen, you can despawn certain enemies, which is nice sometimes. Other enemies, like the chainsaw guys, they're pretty much on the map until you get rid of them. Another thing you'll see me do is, with the bazooka, I will try and hit a wall. I got extra speeches. And the reason why is because, every time you do that, you get some knockback, but if you hit a wall, then you get knockback faster. And here I'm going a little bit out of my way to pick up some Pandora's boxes, because I'm going to need them for the gigantic toddler, which for all intent is the first little mini boss of this game.
Yeah, the Pandora's boxes do a lot of damage. The problem is the attack itself is kind of RNG. It just kind of does what it wants for the most part.
Yeah, it just kind of goes everywhere. It's not even dependent on like the enemy being on screen or like it's weird. Like, it just kind of flies everywhere. And you just hope that all of the particles just happen to hit and then they stay on them for a long time and deal damage. It's a little bit weird.
So I guess since you mentioned the bazooka and stuff, we can talk about sub-weapon use a little bit. So like the bazooka itself, like you mentioned, has knockback, so he'll press his back up against the wall to prevent some of that knockback. Also, it has infinite range, so at times you'll see him just shooting bazookas off screen.
Yeah, it goes infinite, which is very nice actually. Stupid baby. I don't want to waste too much bazooka ammo on him, so I'm actually going to take this long way around.
Yeah, so basically there's some areas that you can set up in pretty much a straight line and just fire off shots, and that'll basically pave a way for him just to shoot through the level, through like buildings and walls and stuff. It's also really useful in the Snakeoid boss fights, which we'll see a little bit later.
Yeah, so I guess now is a good time to get into some sort of like how running Zam really goes when you're going for lower times. The current world record is 33:53 by Albert, and what he found, or you know, just decided to go and do, was he wanted to find a way to get us an extra skeleton key. You'll see that there's a lot of skeleton keys throughout the game, and they're required in order to get through skeleton doors. And so what you do is they can drop out of any container that you open, say a open wrong door. Say a trash can or anything like that. If you open it, it depends on the frame that you open it for which item that you get. And so if you press start at the beginning of the game on a certain frame and then you run directly towards the first trash can in the first level, you can manipulate a skeleton key drop, and that lets you skip the gigantic combo fight there. It saves you about like 12 seconds or so. And so that really helps out. But it sucks.
Well, you don't have to fight the gigantic toddler, and then you don't have to kill the second the neighbor in the next level, the following level, correct?
Yeah, you always...
Since you didn't kill the toddler. Yeah. So it actually saves a decent amount of time. But yeah, it's something, it's like, I think in his notes he had 1,265 frames is the skeleton key drop, so
yeah, that's
it's
when
pretty difficult.
Yeah, it's one frame, because you know, if you get it on 2 frames off, you don't get the drop. It sucks. So it's a really reset heavy. But the other side of running Zam is that it's interesting for how we actually get through this run, is that it was originally a challenge run where people were like, all right, let's see if we can beat Zam with only one neighbor, you know, just to see if they could do it. And that just also happens to be the fastest way to beat the game. So the route that the person who has the SDA run up there, his name's Gia, he based that route off of that kind of thing. And then I helped adapt it, and then Albert found the frame dependent thing, and he also runs 100%, so he found other sorts of things that can help you out in this run.
Yeah, and speaking of Albert, he's actually in the chat right now, talking away and stuff. So,
Yeah,
hi Albert. Yeah. So another thing, speaking of the victims and the neighbors and stuff like that. Points are actually pretty important in this game as well. There will be a point that he wants to get a specific number of points, exactly 40,000, or a little over that is fine. But he wants to get that at a certain level, so it's easy to kill off the neighbor and then go back to that single neighbor cycle again.
I should have raised my mic a little bit more to see more people saying. I should be higher. Hopefully that's better.
Yeah, I say it's a little better from what I can tell.
It always resets to like 100% whenever I turn off my computer, so it's like, what do I set it to?
Yeah, I have that issue with Skype. Skype just does its own thing and like messes with my mic settings.
Alright, so here are the ants. They kind of move depending on how you move, which is nice because it makes them kind of easy to manipulate. But they can also pick up your items, which is annoying. Like that ant can decide that he's going to take, like that. It's mine. Jerk.
Stealing your goodies, man.
So yeah, say if there was one that was coming at me, I could just spray them right in front and then just move up a little bit. It's pretty easy to dodge them out. And they also die one shot to the alien gun, so once I have that, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, the Martian bubble gun is really awesome against ants. It just one shots them, and actually you can pass through them too, so you can get like a couple in one shot sometimes. But yeah, if you haven't noticed already, he's been using the fire extinguisher quite a bit, and it's a really effective weapon because it'll freeze enemies in their place. So it kind of goes along with maintaining that point system and stuff, because there are times that he doesn't want to go exceed the points and stuff. So he'll want to freeze the enemies so he doesn't add to that point counter.
So on this level is usually pretty hard casually, but if you use a ghost potion, you can walk over the water. Makes it pretty easy. And to go on the point system, basically at 40,000 points, I believe.
Yeah, it's 40,000.
Yeah, 40,000. I will get an extra neighbor. It's like a bonus that you get for hitting that point. And so I want to get that on a certain level so that I can kill that neighbor off really quickly and get on my way again with my normal one neighbor. Someone asked how many levels we do. We do 49, I believe.
Yeah, it's 49. There's 52 counting all the bonus stages. 48 is technically the last stage where you have the final boss fight, but there's an extra credit level after that we play through to consider the run over.
Because you're still playing the game, technically.
Yeah, and there's still a neighbor you gotta save, so.
Exactly. So right there, I manipulate the zombies by holding left and left and up, and it makes it so that they don't follow me in. Now here are the snakeoids. The snakeoids have this really cool tech where if you hit them on a certain place in their head, you will deal 3 damage to them, and they take 6 damage to kill, right? So you can realistically one-shot them, kind of. And they drop skeleton keys, so you need to kill them. The other thing about them is that whenever they hit you, they actually gain life. So they have 6 health, right? Say you hit them twice, but then they lick you, then you actually only did 1 damage to them. So that's why some people have tried to tell me that they actually have 12 life or some shit. It's like, nah, they don't.
No,
you're just getting hit over and over again. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to kill them if you get kind of downwards, if you're facing downwards. It's really hard to hit them if you're facing upwards.
One snake has been stuck.
Yeah, sometimes they can wander throughout the map, so sometimes you have to lure them in.
But yeah, I guess kind of an effective reason why that works is their hitbox is actually pretty big, but the bazooka passes generally through enemies and stuff like that, so it stays active as it's traveling through its hitbox. So once it hits that first hit, if it recovers by the time that the bazooka bullet hasn't made it through its hitbox, it'll hit it again. So it's kind of stacking hits.
Yeah, exactly. They could pass through it potentially 3 times, pretty much.
Let's see, yeah, he picked up the Martian bubble gun on the way there, though. Like we mentioned earlier, it's really good effective against ants, but it's also against some bigger monsters like Frankenstein. That's really effective against him. It will kind of snare him and stop him from, approaching. And kind of allow him to get him out of the way so he can continue on the level.
Yeah, right here, I'm picking up a secret weapon that is actually exclusive to the Super Nintendo version, which is why we play on it. It is the flamethrower, and it's like, it does a lot of damage to the main boss of the game, which is this giant spider that we'll see later on. Yeah, it's unfortunate that the sequel is not as good as this game, even though it has some mechanics. If you want to check out a speedrun of that, though, Hulk actually has done speedruns of that. He's got runs up on YouTube, if you really want to check it out.
Yeah, since we talked about that earlier, I actually was like looking up and about it and stuff, and it wasn't originally intended to be like a sequel of Something My Neighbors. It just used the same engine.
Right.
So, and then they were like, well, we'll just kind of make it a sequel, I guess.
It's kind of a cool game to play, but like you probably won't finish it. You know what I mean? Which is true for Zam as well. For a lot of people, I guess.
Yeah. So that last stage, there is sometimes that last jelly blob can be kind of an issue. Sometimes he can shoot the neighbor. The upside about the jelly blobs attacking a neighbor is while they're slimed, you can still save them, but you're kind of on a time limit at that point. So.
Yeah, the same thing is going on in this level because this cheerleader is so close to those evil dolls' spawn point. So I have to stay close enough to the left to make that happen. Make sure that they're not on screen.
Yeah, so even though that hallway to his right was completely open and you wouldn't have to like punch through it or anything like that, or in some cases waste bazooka, it's safer to go to the left side and go through the wall instead of going through the open hallway because those Chucky dolls will come out and attack the cheerleader and then just run over from there.
So here I go out of my way a little bit to pick up another ghost potion, which I will need later on, and then I'll get a burger. Why not?
Burger sounds delicious, actually.
The unfortunate thing about running Zam, I'll break it to you guys, is that with this route that was based off of the challenge run, as I was talking about, it's really easy to get 35-ish minute times, 36, you know? But to really push it down to like the 33, 53 or whatever that it is now, you have to get these random drops. And to get like the dream run really would be 2 skeleton key drops. One of them being frame dependent at the beginning, and another one just being throughout the game. That would be optimized Zam is dead kind of kind of run, because you'd be able to save like 30 seconds or so, or something like that, over what the run is now, pretty much. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
because
there's later stages. Yeah, there's later stages you have to kind of go all over the place just to get skeleton keys.
Yeah, and this is the level that it's on. Now that we use speed shoes on it, because you saw that I just went all the way out of my way to get that skeleton key, and then I'm going all the way on my way over here to get another skeleton key. So say throughout this game I decide to stop and pick up drops, which wastes time, by the way, if you don't actually get what you're looking for. I think I have to get that point too. What was I saying? So yeah, say you get a skeleton key drop out of one of those drops that you decide to go for, then you've just saved so much time. But if you don't get anything, you like lose time over the course of opening all of these containers. It can be a bit frustrating to have to rely on something like that.
It's also the first stage that you saw use of the decoy clowns. That's actually a really effective weapon, especially against the vampires and stuff. It will distract them and keep them off of you. But later at the last boss fight, hopefully, I don't know if he's going to try to do it or not, but you can actually trap the boss into a corner and just kind of lay waste to him. So they can be really effective and really useful.
Yeah, they're actually really cool because they will block enemies in. They can't walk past them. So we'll see at the end that I'll try and trap the final boss. I'll try it. Why not? 5 minutes. Oops. There's also a different strat I could do here, but it's kind of risky, so I'm not gonna go for it. It's new stuff. Plus, you don't get this med kit down here. Another ghost potion. You don't need that. So, by the way, if you learn the route for this, you can have a 35-minute Zam run. So you should do it.
I could, yeah. So in my research, I found this website that has stage maps to like a lot of games and stuff, and I actually found one for Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and it has like basically all the layouts for all the drops, or not the drops, but like what's actually out that you can get, like keys and weapons and stuff, and then it has like all the neighbors laid out in order and stuff like that. Based on, I guess, their number code of what one would actually be spawned per level and stuff. So I actually have like a bunch of routes and alternate routes and stuff like that, like plotted and stuff. So I'll have to go through and kind of test some things. Yeah, if we can find a way to make that, at least that first skeleton key consistent, you know, we can definitely bring that time down, I feel.
I mean, it's always that frame, so it's just, you know, can you hit that frame?
Yeah. But yeah, I always enjoyed this game so much as a kid. Like the sub-weapon system is, you know, very unique for its time and stuff. I mean, you have sub-weapons in other games like Castlevania and whatnot, but it's not, you know, to the same level as this. So, like managing your resources and, you know, understanding what weapons kill what enemies in, you know, faster ways and stuff like that. It's really interesting to me. Also, I love like the kind of B horror movie slapstick style to it. It makes it really entertaining too.
It's a really unique game for its time. It was one of the games when I was a kid. Me and my friend, we made a point of like trying to beat it. You know what I mean? It was one of those games where it was like notorious for being kind of hard. That's what intrigued me about the speedrun. Yeah, if you're just joining us, the reason why I only have one neighbor to save is because I've killed off all but one neighbor. So I only have to save one throughout all of these levels. So here we have the first mini-boss, kind of spider guy. My points are pretty on point, I think. I gotta do this like shimmy move so that I get past these little spiders, but I don't actually kill them. Because then I would gain more points. Now the good thing about this spider is that it's weak to this flamethrower. So I'm gonna flamethrower the crap out of it. And it's gonna throw all this webbing and stuff down. So I have to do this weird kind of movement to kind of make sure that I move through it and keep hitting the there we go. I should actually have a bit more points here, so I'm gonna have to kill. Oh, I hit it too early, actually. I'm dumb. Well, that's fine. wanted to hit it on the next level, but oh well.
You should be, yeah, you should be able to just fine.
It's all up to the vampire. Get over there, boy. Very nice. Real quick.
That's good. So when I first got interested in speedrunning this game, I actually watched a task of it, and the task actually manages its points to it can actually skip, I think, the last boss fight, just because it saves the neighbor that's out in the open, and then it takes the vampire all the way to the boss fight, and the boss fight, or the vampire kills the last neighbor and just opens the door automatically for you.
It's pretty awesome that it does that, but I haven't been able to work it out that I could work.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that, to be honest.
Yeah, because
it'd be very challenging.
Would you have to hit like another bonus on like the last stage or like the I don't even know. Yeah, that's the new.
You have to really manage your points. So something he's using right now is he's using the Ankh, or the Relic. It's really useful because it makes you invulnerable the entire time that you're actually using it. The only time it isn't invulnerable is against the bigger bosses, so like the baby, the snakeoids, and the final boss, of course. But it's useful for like getting away from Frankenstein there, who kind of shoots electricity in random directions, and sometimes you can throw it in that tunnel you crawl in, making it kind of hard to get around him.
Yeah, it's good that you just like naturally pick one up on the route, and then you get just enough to make it feasible throughout the whole thing. $1K viewers for Zam. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm down for that. Wait, I switch. Get off there.
Slime me in a minute.
Be a jerk. Alright, I always screw this stage up. I really want to do it right. Let's see.
Oh, spikes? I always have trouble on this stage.
Every time I screw it up.
Yeah, it's actually pretty tough to get through there cleanly. But yeah, I know anytime I've ever made it to that stage, like I've actually had the wolf jump over the wall and like kill the neighbor. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you here? So another ghost potion. I'm gonna get through this level really quickly. You can swim through all this toxic waste. It doesn't really do any damage to you or anything like that, but this way it's obviously a lot more efficient.
Yep. Why swim when you can walk?
Why swim when you can be Jesus?
That clone at the beginning of this level is notorious. And for just existing, I guess. And he makes it, his positioning, the way that he spawns, makes it so that you have to pause for just a split second in order to get taking damage. It's so annoying. I hate him.
Also, a small thing we may not have mentioned too, with saving some of the neighbors and stuff. Obviously, some of them have like their unique things. There's some that are on trampolines. Luckily, the way the way the neighbors are set up throughout the levels, just doing this single neighbor, there's none on trampolines, so we don't have to worry about that. But the cheerleader specifically, she jumps up into the air. During that time, it can kind of be a pain in the butt because you can't save her while she's in the air. So it can kind of make some situations a little scary sometimes.
Yeah, you can go to get her and then she jumps. So here I do the same thing where I hold up and left, and I hope that, yeah, no, he got in here. Sometimes he won't be in there. Oh, he was.
Good thing is that you can block him with that tree, so.
Okay, now this level has 3 snakeoids on it, and I want to draw 2 of them upwards. There is an alternative route where we're thinking about doing 3 upwards than and you need the skeleton key perhaps again. But there's all these freaking football players they can to get the keys that you want.
Yeah, they're extremely annoying because they push you so far away.
Which is nice if they push you in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely.
But not so nice when they don't go in the right direction.
Sometimes it can save you, sometimes it can hurt you.
Or you get stuck in between 2 of them and then they just bounce you back and forth.
Just perpetual bouncing, yeah.
So annoying. Yeah, so one of the main advances that was made in this level was that we used to go upwards to get a skeleton key that's actually hidden behind the doors there. But now we can go down here. I was just talking about it. Now there's a skeleton key down here that we want to get. And what that does is that if you go get the one that's up, you actually will lure in this vampire, which will then follow you all the way into this next fight, which is the final boss. And so by not getting that key, now I don't have to fight that vampire. And he's honestly the worst enemy.
Yeah, he's such a pain to do.
So the first phase of this boss is, again, the spider. And the only really annoying part is that he has a lot more room to run around in, so it makes it kind of Alright, so now I can try just the strat that I was talking about. See how that goes.
Yeah, so what he wants you to do is, once this big head pops up, he wants to try to get him in a corner, and then he can use the decoys to kind of just hold him in place. And then he can just wail on him with the water gun.
Yeah, conveniently the water gun does the most damage actually to this guy. This guy can be pretty annoying, especially when he doesn't want to go into the right place.
Yeah, that dash tongue attack he does is really frustrating. Because he just zips right out of there.
There we go.
Good stuff. Tough fight, but still good.
Alright, so now we count up all the enemies that I killed throughout the run. And so of course it saves time to not kill enemies throughout the run. But you're gonna do it. So we have to sit through this because the game's not over yet.
So like we mentioned earlier, that was the 48 stage, so by all intents the last stage, but there is a credit stage. It's just a fun little stage. There's like I guess the devs and stuff kind of like modeled themselves in the game. You can actually talk to them and stuff like that. But there are still enemies and there's still a neighbor left, so we gotta make sure we save that last neighbor.
We might be a winner, but we're not at the end. So, Connor, what's your favorite enemy in this game?
My favorite enemy?
Yep.
Well, there's plenty I don't like. I don't like the vampires or the werewolves. Those things can be frustrating. I don't know. I guess the lagoon men are pretty interesting.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, I just like I said, I love the whole like B-movie horror theme of this and stuff. Like all the Frankensteins and the classic horror film themes and stuff. It's really good. There we go.
And that's the game.
GG's. Good run, man.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yes, I love this game so much. It's always so fun to watch.